Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive Podcast. I am your host of the Trap or Dive Podcast, Mo. Dre is in the building. Tusi. I said Tusi. Al two. Boy, I'm so used to saying Al two and Tus. I was trying to say Tusifa.
Bro, you good for remembering because I saw Tusifa. I don't know who. I was like, who is Tusifa?
Yeah, that's Al two. Yeah,
okay,
I know that's an OG. Right. That's an OG trapper, bro. I just tried to say his new name.
No, I know who he is, but that caught me off.
Just messed it up, bro.
Yeah. And then you fucked it up more.
Yeah, but if y'all know where I got that Tusi from, then yeah, you know, this is mind your business. Anyway, on the YouTube side, appreciate y'all checking in. Al two, Bojangles. Everybody else that's watching, listening, Benz, what's up? Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. On the YouTube side of things, if you want to become a member and officially support the channel and be a YouTube trapper, man, you can always become a member by joining the channel for a small monthly nominal fee. And show your support that way. Twitch, Twitter, appreciate y'all checking in as always, man. If you on the YouTube side of things, make sure you hit that. If you're on the audio side of things, make sure you hit that follow button. Hit us a rating and review if you can. It takes 10 seconds to do so, and it's free to show your support that away. Dre, we had a little off week, man. It's not that one. Did it feel good to like kick your feet up on a Tuesday? And I think because last week it was probably football going on. Basketball going on. I don't know who played, but it was probably some kick your feet up and just not even worry about, talking about OTAs like we about to do tonight. How did the bye week feel?
Actually, bro, I kind of missed it. Like, I was like, damn, it didn't feel right not doing the show. I mean, I've been kind of occupied with the old draft talk, even, with the playoffs. But I was like, damn, man, it was OTA week, first week of the OTAs, by the way.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to talk about this shit this week. But I know y'all was out there doing y'all thing in Brazil, having fun. So I was like, hey, it's all right. I can rest for a little bit.
That's Brazil's on the way.
No, that's right. Colombia. See, South America.
Yeah, South America. For sure. But yeah, it did feel a little weird. I ain't gonna lie to you, because like typically when I'm out of town, it's just me out of town. I take my laptop. Well, I took my laptop this time too, but like I take my recording stuff too that I need to do it. So, but I was like, look, man, it's off season. We ain't got to stress it. We'll spin the block. And I mean, there's been some conversation about quite a few avenues. I mean, Terry spoke in front of the media. He also had an interview with Rich Eisen where he's opening up about his role in the offense and also like the distinction between what was and what is David Blau's presence. I mean, he spoke on Jaden. Jaden has had his conversation with the media. But a lot of people are speaking about how sharp Jaden is in terms of like his preparation, his leadership, and like Sonny Styles is getting some rave reviews. And I think the thing is, we're about to dive into it, right? But I love hearing the conversations and like the details in which like some people are actually like ready at this point of the year, right? I like that, and I was gonna have a but in there, but I think at this point acknowledging a couple areas that I think is interesting before like we dive into the Weezy things. Like the one thing that I did here when I was gone is just how fluid like David Blau's side of the ball was in OTAs. And I don't know what to make of that because like when you have a good showing in front of the media, that's kind of a big deal, right? But you don't know like the other OTA days and like how many errors, issues, mistakes they made. But then again, too, like being prepared early on, like I'm very interested in seeing just how quickly, if at all, like how quickly the offense have really grasped what David Blau is trying to install. I know I said a lot. We can kind of just maneuver around. I'm not really about to go line item by line item. But that was the one thing, and we'll get to the defense too. But like hearing like how David Blau's offense, in terms of what he's trying to get across in the early days, at least in the early practices, from a visual standpoint, from the media side who's reporting there day in and day out. The two practices that they've been to haven't really been no hiccups in like the operation side. So I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but I'm interested in seeing like, is that like as the weeks move on, like is that real, or like how much further along do they have to go in terms of like grasping exactly what David Blau wants?
Yeah, I think it's going to be something we carry over into training camp as far as like whether we start knowing if it's real when they start doing the contact stuff. But it is encouraging to hear, early on, they are kind of running things smoothly, especially with a new offensive coordinator, new system being put into place. I think it goes back to David Blau's his preparation and kind of what Dan Quinn talked about and Adam Peters when they were talking about the hiring of a David Blau, when everyone was worried that they're going the inexperienced route, especially in such a critical year, entering year 3 for this whole system. Jaden Daniels is starting a new system, but you always kind of heard that David Blau is very prepared. Like he's very, meticulous in how he wants to approach the offense. I guess the biggest question was going to be how quickly would the players pick it up, especially when you talk about the Jaden Daniels, who's only, played under Cliff Kingsbury's offense so far in his 2 years in the NFL. But the good thing is David Blau has been here. Like David Blau's not fresh out of the street. Like he's not fresh from another organization, another team. Like David Blau's been in the organization. He's been in the building with the Jaden. So he kind of already has that rapport and that chemistry with a Jaden Daniels to kind of, make this transition smooth. And I think it's very encouraging, at least for me, to hear that Jaden Daniels is picking it up so fast, because that's what you want to hear from your quarterback. Like you want to hear that your quarterback picks things up fast. Like the worst thing we could hear right now, and it's hard to take it too serious one way or the other, whether they're looking great or whether they're looking bad, but you really don't want to hear that your quarterback's not picking things up, or, Jaden Daniels is a little slow, because then you're going to start getting that doubt creeping into your head. Like, oh man, is Jaden Daniels good in only one system? But it's so good to hear early on that he is picking this up, that he is looking good, especially when you're talking about they're putting him under center a lot more, which we wanted to see. We wanted to see Jaden Daniels. I mean, it's good to know that, so far things look good, but I think we still, have to wait until they start to put the pads on and they start to really kind of go at it with each other in training camp, especially first preseason game. We play the Dolphins and we're going to have a joint practice. So we'll kind of learn a lot early about the team, but it's encouraging so far. I mean, especially about some of the stuff, I'm hearing about the wide receiver position. I mean, that's kind of been the talk of town as far as the wide receivers need help. We need to add this, but so far you're hearing some things. But again, it really kind of means nothing in June and July, and it's going to mean more when it comes to August and September.
Yeah, do you are you buying are you buying the conversation surrounding the wide receiver group? I'm glad that Terry McLaurin, and even besides Terry, side note, Laramie Tunsil, the conversation about receivers, but Laramie Tunsil even showed up for the OTAs, right? Like he showed up for the first week of OTAs. And I think that dedication. Now, granted, I don't think he was present for this public one. but he's moving back and forth between like his home training base and Washington. But I mean, for like the leaders on the offensive unit to be there and to be present in a first year offensive coordinators install and practices and early season, all season practices, I think that's pretty I mean, it's obviously intentional, but it also makes like a statement in the sense of like what you want out of this season. But the receiver standpoint, are you buying it? I don't know where I'm at yet. And I'm not, like I said, I think the main thing with OTAs, and I'm trying to just kind of keep that level at it. Like, I'm not trying to like jump the gun with anything. But I think the reason why I even asked that question is because of like the conversation that I hear about the receiving group. And while there's been no news, no like formal or real news about Aiyuk or even Stephon Diggs to this point, you got to think like internally and even David Blau said it, like he's super confident in his pass catchers. and as he described it, I think that they are very impressed or very confident, or they're at least betting on, they're happy with betting on the people that they have in that room. And that's also part of the reason why I said I wouldn't be surprised if they stand pat. But from a public standpoint, and just like a couple practices that we saw in the media saying that the receiver group looks good, yeah, I'm gonna need a couple more than two OTA sessions to say, yeah, I think we'll be fine this season.
No, absolutely. I mean, you as a fan, us, we're not in the building, we're not in the meeting rooms every day. We cannot be okay as fans or just trusting that we're fine at the receiver's position, even if we hear glowing things in June. Again, they're wearing shorts and everything right now, so it's no contact. I don't even know if they're even doing like real press coverages out there or anything. I mean, it's cool to hear the good things, but as a fan, we tend to want to know something a little bit more proven. And I think the issue with fans, and we're looking at the wide receiver group, outside of Terry, there's no proven go-getter out there at the wide receiver position. I mean, there's some hopefuls, especially from, the team's perspective, but from a fan's perspective, it's like, how can you have us go in trusting that De'Ami Brown's going to be, a 700-800 yard receiving guy, or he's going to take the load off of Terry, or how can you trust that Treylon Burks is going to finally break out? But what I do think and what I do feel is that they feel more confident than the fan base does. Like, I do truly think that.
Yeah, that's my main thing. I think they feel real confident.
Yeah, I do. And I don't trust them yet. They have to show me that they're right on this. It's a gamble, if there is no plan to add nothing else in that group, it'll be a gamble, but I think it's a gamble they feel comfortable with. And I say that because they could have made another move, so to speak. I mean, not just the Aiyuk there, obviously, you couldn't do anything with that, but there's a Stephon Diggs that's been pretty much begging for a roster spot for a couple of weeks now. And you got to think with OTAs here, if there was like a real sense of urgency from the Washington side, you go sign Stephon Diggs right now. He's already here in Maryland working out, and you get him in here in OTAs building chemistry with the quarterback. Like, to not have that urgency there, I don't even think it's all about character concerns either. I just think they, for whatever reason, they feel really good. And I do think that on the back burner, they probably feel like, hey, yeah, we can go ahead and get an Aiyuk later down the line. But I think they feel comfortable enough where they're not relying on an Aiyuk if that does come to fruition. Like, he's not going to be, come in here. We're not expecting him to be wide receiver too. I think they feel so good about a Treylon Burks or even whatever else they have up in that pass catcher room that Aiyuk could be a bonus, whatever he brings, if he brings anything. I mean, that's just how I think it is, because otherwise, like I said, you could just sign a Stephon Diggs. But I do think that they feel a little bit better. And then the question is too, are they going to be running a lot of spread personnel with the wide receivers? Like, I mean, are we going to see a lot of 4 wide receiver sets on the field, or are they going to go a little bit more heavy with a couple more tight ends on the field? That's what I'm wondering.
I think that 12 and 13 personnel is something that they may try to hone in on. Not to say that's going to be like their dominant alignments, but like you probably get to your traditional 11, like your three receivers, or your two receivers, and 12. But yeah, I don't think they got the personnel to go four wide and a tight end. Like they ain't got that in terms of just like being able to really threaten. But I am interested in like the Aiyuk part. I mean, personally, I'm not interested, but we're gonna have a conversation here on the show. God damn it. I don't know, and the chat, y'all can help me out. Yeah, I want Diggs over Aiyuk. I'm not gonna react. I don't think Diggs needs to go through OTAs. I think he'll be able to go to any team and like get ready during the training camp process, and he'll be fine. But I am interested in like what's this thing with Aiyuk following Jaden Daniels, the Commanders, and his girlfriend or his wife or something like that.
His wife.
Like, is that like a new thing, or is that I have no like I don't follow Aiyuk, so I have no idea if that is something that he's been doing for a long time, or like is that brand new following the June 1 post June 1 thing. I mean, we had 2 trades yesterday. AJ Brown is out of the division. He in the AFC.
Thank you.
Thank God. I mean, I still am betting on the Eagles' demise anyway. So whether he was there or not, they weren't about to do shit. But like Aiyuk is, I mean, he got Washington on his mind. Clear as day. And I'm not too sure yet that the feeling is 100% mutual. Though I do believe like his intentions are known. I think Washington may be like truly evaluating like, would this be worth it? Because, and this is not me grasping at straws, I'm just shooting a real life example. We know for a fact that, and this is just because it just happened, okay? And I'm not saying it's going to be the same thing, but AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts were really good friends at one point. And AJ Brown, I don't even know why he's on this little media, like the timeliness of this podcast interview coming out is crazy. You shouldn't even be opening your mouth saying stuff like this, but you can't help yourself. Saying that y'all not even that close no more, you and Jalen Hurts, and putting that in the public airways is ridiculous. You should have never said that. You had no reason to say that. But like acknowledging in that way, and then just like the public rumors that's coming out in terms of like why y'all don't mess with each other no more. Like, because you had a side chick that you couldn't like let go, but let alone like it's not even your girl. Anyway, point being, and what I'm saying is like a friendship can dissolve like that. And while that's off the field, like you just never know. Like you can't really bank on like the football relationship being 100%. Like that's all that it is. Again, comparison's sake, I'm not saying that the same thing will happen with Jaden and Brandon. What I'm saying is the team itself has things to evaluate because they don't know they can't predict Brandon Aiyuk's like mindset and what he'll do down the line if he's not happy. Right? They know Jaden. They drafted Jaden. They scouted Jaden. And that's the part where it's like, I think that, wow, Brandon Aiyuk is all in on Washington. I'm just not so sure. Like, Washington may be like 70% there, 80% there. But I don't know if they're 100. And that's the part where it's like, I think they may want to evaluate the risk a little bit more. And I think that's what they're doing. But also, San Fran hasn't even cut him. And if they trade for him, well, what the fuck? I mean, that ends the conversation.
Well, and from what I understand, I don't keep up with who follows who and all of that, but the internet sleuths out there say he unfollowed everybody that he was unfollowing, and he kept just those accounts up there. And I mean, it was something that crossed my mind before when I thought about Brandon Aiyuk, but I really believe at this point that he sabotaged everything just to go play where he wants to go play it. I mean, obviously things went a little sour before the whole 49ers taking the guaranteed money away from him and everything over there in San Francisco. But I think once that happened, Brandon Aiyuk was like, if I'm going to be happy in this league and I want to do what I want to do in this league, I'm going to go play where I want to play. And that might sound crazy to a lot of people because, mind you, this dude didn't even fight for his money. He didn't file a grievance or anything. He just put his hands up and let the 49ers take the guaranteed money. And I think what he thought was going to happen was once they take my money, they're going to let me go. But what he didn't realize was that he's playing for a Kyle. He's playing for a Shanahan. And Shanahans do not let grudges go so easily. Like Shanahans are pretty petty. And I think what you see now is a standoff because Kyle Shanahan knows exactly, him and John Lynch both, they know exactly what Brandon Aiyuk is going to do the moment they let him go. He's going to go sign with Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, who is his best friend. But I think the untalked about thing here, because we talk a lot about Jaden Daniels and we talk about Brandon Aiyuk and their relationship together as far as friends and all of that. But Adam Peters has a relationship with Brandon Aiyuk as well. And Adam Peters obviously is the decision maker. Like he's the guy that has to make the decision. So this wouldn't just be a Jaden thing. Like this would, like if something went wrong or whatever. I mean, obviously you'd be like, oh man, we wouldn't sign Jaden's best friend, but this would be a big thing on Adam Peters too, because Adam Peters knows the guy. Like, and I also think that Adam Peters probably talks to him too. Like, of course, that'll never be public or anything, but I think Adam Peters checks in on him from time to time. They were there. He was there when San Francisco drafted Brandon Aiyuk. So you got to keep that in mind. But I mean, again, everyone is saying he's crazy, and maybe he is, to let someone just take your millions and you leave your millions out there. But at the end of the day,
unprecedented, bro.
It's
like
unprecedented.
I will never stop talking about it. I don't care what anybody said.
But Mark, could you say he's a crazy man if he feel like he's standing on his principles, even though his principles may not align with everybody else and how they see him? But if at the end of the day, this is his end goal, he said, I'm standing on my business to get what I want and be where I want to be. Can you really call that man crazy? Like, that's what a lot of people call him.
I zoom in on my camera, bro.
Put the cameras on me, Stephen A.
You forfeited $40 million, and all for the sake of doing what? Playing with your best friend? Nigga, my best friend could play for goddamn the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles or a team in the AFC that I have, like my favorite running back ever played for, Ricky Williams, played for the Miami Dolphins. I don't give a damn where my best friend played, bro. Like I'm not no, bro. Like I don't feel for him, and I don't understand why he did it, and I understand the principle part, right? Like what you're saying, I understand that. But this is a business and professionalism matters. And I think I don't know how to say your name, but in core BSing, I'm gonna just say BSing, bro. But one of your first messages that I saw from you, what's up, bro? He said, I think without the Commanders, Aiyuk career is over. So we shouldn't have to worry about any more off the field issues. That part I agree with, and I understand what you were saying when I was talking. Like, I get what you're saying, in essence, but like Washington shouldn't be viewed as his savior. Like, if Washington wasn't in the picture and he still did that, Dre, let me ask you, what team you think is going to be eager to sign him? Even if it is a 1-year deal, everybody's going to have the same questions.
And that's the thing, Maul. I think he's at the point where and again, this may sound unconventional and crazy to us, the average man, especially when you talk about the millions part. I ain't never touched $1 million before, so I can't fathom giving up millions. But I've never been in a position where I've had millions and lost millions. So that's a whole different story. But I think he's this is just me speculating because that's all we can do. We don't know where his mind is or anything, but I think he's in the mindset of I'm completely good if I walk away from the NFL right now, unless I go and play where I want to play. I mean, that just may be the principle he's standing on at this point. Like, hey, I want to go play with the quarterback I know and the quarterback I trust and the guy I know as a man and I trust. And I want to go over there and play with him. And not only that, he knows Adam Peters too. So that's not the only relationship he has here. And that just may be where he's at. And he's willing to sacrifice his millions for his peace of mind. I mean, that's just me trying to make sense of it because it doesn't make sense to the average person.
All right, man. I hear you. We're gonna leave the Aiyuk talk there, and get back to the team that is. And it's crazy because we was actually out about the receiver spot. Like the last thing I'll say with receiver related, like one thing that I do notice in these conversations that I'm hearing, like these clips from practices and things that's coming out. I do want to be clear, like the energy was up last year too, but like, I don't know if y'all feel it either. And it's like, this is not like some super optimism or fandom thing. Like, I just do feel like there is not like a shadow over the operations in Ashburn. And what I mean by that is like Terry has like a whole different like light on him when he's having these conversations or even during the practice, like he's out there and his presence is felt, right? He's part of the energy that's making the team go. And with Laramie Tunsil showing up, like he's under contract and like he showed up, but the Terry part is like he's healthy and you don't have to worry about him like missing these practices that he missed last year because like that's not the type of person that he is. He didn't want to do that last year. And I think like that different element or that element that has been reintroduced after taking a year off, I think is something that is cool to see. That's all I have for it. It's cool to see. Is there anything? I don't think there's anything about Bill missing time. Like, of course, they don't have to announce injuries or anything like that. But I wonder, like, why he's not practicing because, like, there's clips of this dude training off the field with a personal running back coach. So, like, I'm interested in knowing, like, well, I don't even know. I have no idea what the issue would be, and I don't know if any coaches got asked. Do you know?
No, they said that of course this time of year they don't have to report anything, but I'm assuming it's something very minor because he's obviously there. Like he wants to be working. And I did hear something earlier too, but they said he actually tried to go out on the field and looked like someone from the medical staff actually pulled him back, like, no, just do some side work. So I'm assuming it must be something like really small and minor that they don't want to push in June, which I completely get. Like, you know, let it, whatever it is, just heal up so he can be ready to go when it's time to go. But I mean, it's encouraging that he's still there, even though he can't practice. This is OTAs. Like he's there. He wants to work. I mean, I think it's going to be fine. I mean, maybe he'll be at the last OTAs that we have next week. And I also think we have a mandatory mini camp coming up after the last OTA session. So maybe he gets in one of those. But no, man, I mean, going back to Laramie Tunsil, man, I was actually, granted, he's a guy that if he would have missed, I wouldn't have blinked an eye. Like I would have, and I honestly, I would have expected him to miss because from what I understand, he doesn't really do these things anyway. But the fact that he at least showed up last week, I was like, okay, he got his money, he got the bag, but he still showed up to OTAs, man. Like to me, that shows like he wants to be a leader. He's happy to be here. Now, if he doesn't show up to any of them again for the rest of the sessions, I'm completely fine. Because at the end of the day, Laramie Tunsil brings it. Like that dude does it. Like last year, when we was getting news about Lattimore missing OTAs, now I spoke on that. People told me I was crazy. I'm like, no, man, like this dude was trash last year. Like, I mean, plus he's never had a full off season with the team before. I'm like, if you had a trash season when you first got here, you would want to at least come in and get some early work with the team and develop chemistry, but he felt like he was above that. And if you're going to be a lone wolf, you need to be at least Laramie Tunsil playing level. But if you're going to be a lone wolf of trash, man, like, I mean, good riddance, man. And I'm actually glad that guy's not here anymore. But it just goes back to show like a Laramie Tunsil, man, like That's good to see from one of your leaders who actually doesn't need the work. He's already shown it. He got his bag and everything. But to see him there, I mean, to me, that's a good start to the offseason in itself, because that's showing that, people are bought in. Even after a bad season, like, these guys are still bought in. I mean, and to your point, Maul, I think the energy, again, it doesn't mean anything this time of year. It's June, but I do think, from what I remember or recall correctly, that the energy seems a little bit different in a good way this year. Because I do remember some of the talk last year. Well, not some of the talk. A lot of the talk last year was Terry. And even a lot of people were mentioning that the wide receiver group just didn't look good without him, which was to be expected. But we just kept thinking that he would come in sooner and sooner and sooner, and it just kept getting pushed back further and further and further. And I just think that just kind of grew like a snowball going downhill, and it just turned into something that we didn't expect to see coming for the season.
Last thing, offensively, do you think that the comments coming from the offensive line, Sam Cosmi, who else spoke that I'm thinking of? Maybe Nick Allegretti, but I was trying to think of this week. I think Nick maybe spoke last week. And then even Terry McLaurin, just some of the comments about the offense from Cliff to David Blau. Do you think that what they've been saying is more from a comparison standpoint, or do they truly appreciate the offense that they're in now versus like what they had to deal with the last two seasons?
I think it's starting to signal that they may be going back to a style that they're more comfortable with. I think Cliff stylistically was obviously very different, especially Cliff wanted to really drop back and pass. Like, that was Cliff's thing. And when you hear offensive linemen talk, most of their favorite thing to do is go play power football and run the football and wear the defense out. So, I mean, I think there may be some truth that, or at least if that's what we're kind of expecting a David Blau's offense to look like, and you start to see a little bit more run. And that's why I was mentioning earlier about going more so heavy personnel than spreading wide receivers out. I think that benefits the offensive line, especially a guy like Sam Cosmi. Like, Sam Cosmi likes the physical stuff. So I do think there is some truth there from that group that they probably are feeling, if that's where we're going, they probably are a little bit happier. I mean, they aren't the only ones that I heard. I mean, I even heard Terry even though Terry always says the right things, but I heard Terry kind of light up when he was talking about David Blau. I mean, a couple of other guys, they were seeming pretty happy with the offense. But again, time will tell. But I do think it does signal that stylistically, this thing is going to look a lot different. And I think that some of those guys feel like this style probably suits them a little bit more. Because even when you listen to a David Blau talk, I mean, he talks about collaboration, like collaborative. He says it a lot. And I think that he leans on a lot of people. I mean, his players, his other coaches. And I'm not so sure Cliff was the type that wanted to kind of relinquish control. Like, Cliff seemed like the offense was his baby. Now, I mean, I know he took, some ideas from a couple of guys and whatnot, but I think David Blau was probably more receptive to not being so much of a control freak with the offense.
Yeah, McLaurin said it in his presser, man. He said, quote unquote, I had success in both offenses. We were just in. Don't have too many bad things to say about it. But being multiple and moving around as a receiver is big. When you're the number one guy and the team has to worry about whether you're playing the 1, 2, or 3 on the left side, 1, 2, or 3 on the right side, or what I'm doing in the stack or the motion, it forces them to communicate more and study my route stems. You already talked about the offensive line and like what they want to do. I don't know. I don't think it's a shot from the skill position standpoints, but I do think the offensive line has much more, takes it much more personal when they do speak about the differences. I mean, even Josh Connolly spoke about being able to huddle up now. And he had that conversation this week just because like he hasn't been able to have been in a huddle offense since before. I don't remember exactly when he said, but definitely before college, because obviously we know he was at Oregon. But like the offensive line, I certainly think that they had the personal issues. Like they felt a lot of gratitude and relief when they changed the scheme and the system by moving forward with David Blau instead of Cliff. But also like the elements of play action and being able to communicate a little bit at a longer period of time, as opposed to just going to the line and not having that ability to make checks or the proper checks with the center that you need to or anything like that. I think that's a big deal for the offensive line. So I think it was a mixed bag. I think the skill positions, they probably don't care that much. It may help them, of course. Obviously, it may help them if they can move around, or you can have that play action from under center for a tight end who can kind of slip behind it, like for Ben Sinnott, for those who love him. But
Terry's supposed to get 10 targets a game now, right?
Yeah, 10 targets a game. So for them, I think they didn't take it as personal as an offensive lineman who definitely can thrive in a system where they can have much more time to dissect and make changes as need be up front. It says Little League. Thank you. Yeah, Jay Tizzy. See, shout out to Jay Tizzy, man. Since
I missed that interview. I got to catch it.
Yeah, I think it happened today, like a couple hours ago. So, yeah, that was that. Defensively, let's kind of swing to that side in a second. But first and foremost, we got to talk to the people about Underdog Fantasy. Hey, y'all know what time it is, man. Underdog Fantasy. There's a thief in these finals. Somebody who's been quietly logging up all series long. You've got a hunch on who it is. Underdog's got $1 million for whoever calls it right. Because now you can make picks and win money right now. I said it twice. That's how serious I am. The pod is waiting. Pick your player every game. Include their steals stat. Series ends. Steals leaders gets crowned and pot gets split among everybody who call it. It is simple as that. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these plays and figure out who can get a steal or two in the NBA Finals. This week on Underdog, so we're going to do 3 plays, Dre. And I'm going to get you on one of them, and we're going to figure out who we're going to use for the steals. So let's get you on one. Let's do for the first game, Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m., Knicks versus Spurs. First and foremost, who you got in it? Who you like in this matchup? You like the Spurs or the Knicks?
I actually like the Spurs, man, but I'm not going to. I mean, at first I thought whoever went from the West was going to blow out the East, but then the Knicks just look so damn good that I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than most people probably think. But ultimately, I'm going Spurs because I can't root for a Knicks team. I'm sorry. I don't like New York teams.
You know what's so crazy, bro? I ain't got no problem with the Knicks, but I instantly didn't like the fact that I didn't like them. Like I would root for the Knicks if it wasn't for their fans. And I don't even like hate the New York Knicks fans like that. But then when you just see them and observe them, then you just understand why they're just in the same boat as any other New York sports team or any Philly team. Like it just does not get any worse than a Knicks fan. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry. So if we got Knicks fans in here, whoop-de-doo. Anyway, Wembyana, where we at, man? 27.5 points. Are we going to go higher or are we going to go lower for Wemby?
Hold up. First game is where? They playing in San Antonio?
San Antonio.
All right, I'm going to go higher. If he was playing in the Garden. No, you know what? I'm going to actually go lower. If he was playing in the Garden, I probably would say higher because he wants that Garden show. So I'm going to say lower.
Okay. So you're going to go lower for 27.5 on Wemby. All right, so we have Cats. Carl Anthony Towns. Where was his at? Okay. Oh, there it is. His points, rebounds, and assists is at 32.5. For me, I am going to go higher on Cats. Points, rebounds, and assists, 32.5. And then we're going to go to where are the steals? Here we go. We're going to find Steals. Oh my lord! All of these at 1.5.
Stephon Castle in there.
Stephon Castle is there, but he's at 0.5, so he only has to get 1. I see that one. I see Josh Hart at 1.5. Anunoby. I like Anunoby. How much faith you got in Anunoby, man?
I was thinking Josh Hart from the Knicks side. If I was going to take the over on steals, it would have been Josh Hart. But I mean, Anunoby's not a bad choice. I mean, he plays defense too.
Yeah, I feel like Anunoby, he got like these sparks, but I'm still fine with Hart. That was one of the ones out. So we'll go with Hart. All right, we'll do Hart steals higher than 1.5. All right, so let's run that back. We got Josh Hart steals higher than 1.5. We got Cat higher on his PRA, which is at, let me scroll
Is it 32
back.
and a half?
His PRA is at 32.5, and then we have Wemby 27.5 points. We're going lower on his points. Download the app today and use promo code TRIBEDIVE to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That is promo code TRIBEDIVE. Underdog. Make picks. Win
Be 18
money.
plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
All right. Hide the current comment. Defensively, Sonny Styles is apparently looking the part, or like in a literal sense. The dude is out there flying to the football. Like the dude is like from a frame standpoint, height, weight, speed, everything matches. His teammates are impressed. And I think at the very least, when you look at somebody like that as a rookie and people are confident in terms of like how they're speaking about you. Who was the guy that I had quoted? I want to say it was I lost it. I wonder if it was on Hogs Haven. Who was speaking on him? Somebody was speaking on him today.
Who's Styles?
On Sonny Styles, yeah. I can't find the player that was speaking about him, but he was just talking about Owe. Odafe Owe, I think, was speaking about him. Was talking about how he looks like he's in the green dot role. I think for a rookie, you don't know like when you'll get that green dot. I think even Laurinaitis was talking about it, Coach Laurinaitis, when he had him on. Not the assumption that you'll have it day one, but eventually he'll end up having the green dot. I think it's kind of that conversation. But like somebody speaking that into existence after their first couple practices with Sonny Styles, it's encouraging. Because for that green dot, you got to be vocal. You got to know where to put people. And you got to be able to communicate on all three levels. So I guess for his teammates, I'm glad that they're comfortable with Sonny. I don't know if they bullshitting us. I always have to say that though. Like, I don't know, like we don't know the truth because it's so early. Right. But if they sound comfortable, like it doesn't sound like there's no hesitancy in their voices. Like you can't pick, there's no radar that you can like detect right now. Like there may be some times where you can have question marks. Like when I forgot who it was that was talking about Sam Howell, and you just knew he was just bullshitting. I swear, I actually think it was Terry, bro. I swear, I think it was Terry. He had this quote about Sam Howell, and I was like, bro, he ain't got like Sam Howell ain't doing shit in this league, bro. But that's my point. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can have a radar of like a bullshit radar, but it sounds like these people are truly confident in Sonny Styles.
Well, you know, I was going to say that reminds me of, you know, going back in history. I always remember a clip when the Redskins drafted Desmond Howard with the number 4 pick in 1992, 93, whatever year that was. And his rookie training camp, they asked one of the offensive linemen, Jeff Bostic, who was one of the starting offensive. He's the starting center for the Redskins. They said, "How does Desmond Howard look?" Jeff Bostic said, "He can't play." And they thought he was joking. He was dead serious. He said he can't play. He said he can't get off the line. He said that straight up in a media interview. We don't get that sort of candid stuff anymore. It's good. You don't want to, ruin anybody's confidence or anything. But I mean, it is encouraging to see his peers, or at least
a baby Bobby Wagner is what Owe called him. That's actually,
he went out of his way to say something like that. Like that's nothing. You don't have to throw that out there to say a kid is looking good, in his first, year or whatever, like though his first camp. Like for him to actually say that, I think he means that. I don't think that's bullshit, because you don't have to go out of your way to call anybody Bobby Wagner, because Bobby Wagner is a future gold jacket guy. So Owe must see something in him that's giving him that, feeling. I mean, I know I saw something earlier today where they showed him being one of the first people out in the practice field, and it immediately brought me back to our conversation with James Laurinaitis a couple of weeks ago, when Laurinaitis was talking about the block 0, or the block O, the Ohio State block O, and how he was able to achieve that. He was able to achieve that by not just one or two people. Like everybody had to collaboratively vote on him getting this block O thing, which is a very prestigious honor over there in Ohio State. So he may be shooting up to be a captain a lot sooner than we can see. I mean, hopefully the play matches everything else that comes with it, and I can't imagine at this point that it won't. But I mean, if it does, I mean, you talking about a guy that's literally going to be the green dot, the quarterback of your defense, and he seems like he has that maturity to take on all of that, which is a great thing. I mean, we hear people talk about him. They say he's like an old soul, and I've seen it so far. Like the guy looks like he's older than, but he's only 21, right? I mean, he feels like he's about 28, 29. Like he's been in the league already years. But I mean, you love to see that in a young person. Like you love hearing the work ethic and, everything that comes with that. And I think he has what it takes to kind of get, to that potential level that you want to see him at. And I'm excited. I think he probably does wear the green dot day one. I mean, because like I said, he seems like he's mature. We hear Odafe always say something like that. Again, like I said, players don't throw out comparisons like that lightly. Like a Bobby Wagner, you don't just throw that out there lightly at a guy that hasn't even touched the NFL field yet. So I think there's something to that one.
So I was hearing a conversation from boots on the ground people. This was before today's practice, June 2nd. So I'm gonna give credit to Logan Paulson and Grant Paulson, their podcast, Take Command. And this actually would be a great conversation if AJ was here, because it was concerning like Frankie Louvu. Like when you think about certain roles in the defense, first you point to who can be the Van Ginkel. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
All right. I was bad, and I ain't gonna lie to you, because I had Van Winkle and Van Ginkel in my head, and y'all got on me when I said Van Winkle.
Yeah, you got it that time. You thought about it.
All right, yeah, Van Ginkel. So who's in the Van Ginkel role? And his thought was Clavon Chason being in that Van Ginkel role. And he had his reasons why. So like we don't have to worry about the reasons per se. But I think ultimately the conversation landed on, where does that leave Frankie Louvu? And I bring this up because, one, like we've had this conversation, or we at least brought up the topic way in advance of like him bringing it up. But I think it's even more credible because he's actually visibly at practice. So I gotta at least acknowledge that this thought is something that's worth like diving into even further, because if you have space for like Frankie Louvu, who is a person who he's 100% downfield, like attack, right? And I think for somebody like that, there's always going to be space for you on the roster for you to do things. You're going to be in a rotation, but like how much space does a team have for that if it's like a duplicative role? And where does that leave a Frankie Louvu come the final week of preseason, right? Leading up into crafting your final 53. I don't know if that's a trade. I don't know if that's a like, you may not like your role moving forward, but we're going to keep you here on your last year type of thing. Like one or the other. But I do think it's interesting because if there is a role for, if there's a Van Ginkel role out there and the two players that are being entertained does not include a Frankie Louvu, especially when you have a Leo Chenal out there who can play off ball or he can play on the edge. I do think it's something worth thinking about, especially if it's something where like those conversations are starting to like pick up from the people who are actually at practice.
Well, I mean, I could be misremembering this, or I'm not sure. I feel like this was last week or even one of those like phase 2 sessions or something. But I thought they said early on that Frankie Louvu was wearing the green dot. I mean, I feel like I heard that. Like somebody said that. Like it might have been last week. I'm not too caught up on everything.
What I do remember, and it may have some. I think the green dot was rotating.
Okay. I'm looking it up. They may be trying to find Frankie Louvu's role at this point, but I do think something that Frankie Louvu does have, at least going for him, is you can kind of line him up a lot of different places. I mean, the problem is Frankie Louvu isn't really great at any one thing, but I do think that his best, feat is kind of
he had the green dot
last week. So he had the green dot. But if they're rotating, I don't imagine him probably carrying the load as the green dot going into the season. I think they want Frankie to have, Sonny Styles to have that spot, but I think they're trying to find a role for him. I mean, mind you, I guess we're going to a 3-4 defense now, so this is different than what we've kind of seen, the last couple of years in the Quinn and Joe Witt system. So he may be a jackknife on the defense at this point. Maybe they'll line him up in a lot of different places just to try to find something. But I did think it was interesting in the chase on kind of playing that Van Ginkel role, because we did kind of think that Louvu will be playing that role. But it's a good question. Even to the point of, is Louvu potential trade bait if they can't find like a definitive role for him in his defense? Like, what can you get for Frankie Louvu? And does he end up being on the roster when the season comes? But that's still very early preliminary, because I think we have good problems now. I think we have a lot more bodies, or at least capable bodies, up in the defense or the front seven. What my boy say? Kinlaw, shit, he could go. Shit, he could go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I do think that you have some good problems in the front seven now, to the point where you kind of looking for the role for Frankie Louvu, who was just all pro 2 years ago.
Logan Decker said Frankie is good at rushing the passion. That's about it. I think what really hurt him last year is like his flaws exposing it themselves. Just out of position, not taking on contact. Like, it was embarrassing at times. The moments where like he just didn't want to meet a pulling guard or offensive lineman in the alley or in the gap. And it created significant holes. And I think for as the positives that we see Frankie Louvu and the plays that he made in the backfield in 2024, if you don't get him some help up front, that boy, like, he is a crash dummy. Can't take that away from him. But like, he gonna give up. Or an offense is gonna get an additional 10, 15 yards if they get the right lineman downhill against him. And that's something that a new defensive coordinator can't bet on. And that's me, I'm a real fan of Louvu. I know what he can do after that first year, but if he don't get that momentum in terms of like being able to stack games on top of each other, like that confidence, that it just didn't look too good to me. I ain't gonna lie to you. But that's to your point though. Like the depth here It's like they did a great job with the depth. Whereas if Fluvu did lose his spot, trade candidate can be one thing. He may be a surprise cut. But at the same time, like you don't have to do anything with him. He may just lose some time.
Yeah.
And maybe relegated to a backup role. So that's just all on them to kind of figure that part out. Another person that we can probably close out on is Jartavius Martin. That safety spot, man. That safety group. They've been using a lot of 3 safety deployments. With that third safety, like playing that slot role. And I think it's been Jartavius and I want to say Tyler Owens have been that third safety. I mean, Jartavius in the slot, but I don't know.
Will Harris?
I can't remember. Huh?
Was it Will Harris?
Nick Cross for sure, but I don't know who the other person was that was like rotating in the slot. I don't remember. And maybe the chat, y'all can help me. But yeah, I don't remember who the other people was playing like in that slot role. But Jartavius, man, I think this is obviously we know this is a big year for him, but I think like what these coaches see in Jartavius is the reason why like he gets these opportunities. There's no denying like he's an athlete, bro, and he's fearless. It's like, how do you allow him to play fast without like overthinking or fucking up an assignment? And I don't know how much faith AJ has with him like covering like the actual football. I think that he's okay. I don't think that he's bad. Well, like on the ball, like defending on ball. But I think the problem is like everything before that. Everything before the ball is thrown in the air. So I don't know. We'll see. But I do think it's interesting if you can experiment and have him in the slot role. You actually, I mean, if it can amount to something, I think that's part of the project part with Durante Jones, like figuring out how to get these chess pieces together and how do you revive some of the talent that is obviously on the roster that's contributed to such a poor defense. But like, how do you find them in the roles that can help elevate their career, but also like maximize the ability or the potential of the defense?
Well, you know, the interesting thing with Durante Jones is when he first came in.
Tyler, okay.
Yeah, when Durante Jones first did his introductory press conference, I thought it was kind of interesting that Jartavius was one of the first people he mentioned, and he mentioned scouting him at his time at Illinois. And I think what we know of him at Illinois was that he kind of played that slot role a lot at Illinois, and that's where he was most effective. Maybe that's what Durante Jones was to get him back doing, because I mean, when we saw Quan or Jartavius get drafted in the second round that year, we felt like we were getting something. That was the Emmanuel Forbes draft, by the way. But we felt like we got a steal in the second round because his tape looked pretty good at Illinois. He played for Lovie Smith up there at Illinois. Lovie Smith obviously got many years of coaching in the NFL. And he looked really fluid. He looked like he was going to be a playmaker. And he wasn't even bad the first year that Dan Quinn was here. Like, I mean, he made a couple plays, but last year was like everything went completely off the rails and he was thinking too much. That's the thing I noticed with him. He got caught thinking too much, you know, during a play, pre-snap, whatever. Like, he just wasn't ready for his assignment a lot of the times on the field. And then there was the miscommunication issues. A lot of those, he was involved in that miscommunication stuff. So this is going to be interesting for Durante Jones. And one of the things that Dan Quinn talks about Durante when he talks about him a lot, he talks about teaching. He mentions that he's a very good teacher and he gets things across very well. And I wonder, if he can get something across to Quan or Jartavius and put him in a spot where he can excel. Like I said, maybe that is going back to that slot position, because I think we know for a fact that Nick Cross is going to be one of the starting safeties. And then that's why I mentioned Will Harris earlier, because I wonder if he's going to be kind of in a running for one of those spots. And then there's Jartavius. Like, is Jartavius going to, what spot does he see on the field? And maybe it is that slot position, but then there's also Amik Robinson, who you thought you were signing for that slot position. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out, because I do think there's another role up for grabs in that secondary. As far as, like I said, I know Nick Cross. Now, who is that other guy, or maybe that other two guys that's going to kind of fill in those roles?
So I mentioned Bill Merritt being out on offense. Trey Amos is out on defense. And like, I had this brief thought, bro. Trey Amos is ultimately going to be a starter, but like, I had this brief thought, isolated. It's like, what if Washington had two starting boundary corners that were both 5'9", and they was locking shit up, bro? Like, what would you call that duo? A 5'9" duo just strapping shit on the outside, and like, they really made a name for themselves, bro. Like,
I gotta look and see if that's ever been done before. I know we had Daryl Green was 5. Daryl Green was 5'8", 5'9", and he started for years. But maybe somebody. But yeah, we always had bigger corners across.
Yeah, I'm about to say, but it wasn't two of them.
Yeah, we always had bigger corners.
It wasn't two of them. I don't know what that would be, bro. I would love for us to have I mean, again, we know Trey Amos is ultimately going to come back soon, but I would love for us to like think of, let's do some homework on Travel Dive, bro, and figure out what the hell would we name a duo, a 5'9" duo that strap shit. Like, Amik probably, he got that dog in him, bro, and maybe one day Mikey Sanders still can find that same dog. Like, of course he produces turnovers, but you gotta get that dog, bro. I think Amik got it a little bit different than Sanders still does, but hopefully Trey Amos does come back soon. On a real note, so we can figure out like what Durante can do with these pieces in the secondary.
You want to give him some time to get acclimated.
Man says Smurf jail. That is insane.
I was thinking Smurfs because wide receivers get called Smurfs when you got a group of small wide receivers, but I don't know what you call two starting small short cornerbacks.
Yeah,
like, I don't know what you call them, man.
I don't know, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That's why I was like, I'm not gonna put no, because I go a little crazy. I can't do that right now. I got put some thought on this one. All right, the fly trap. I think we're good for now. But I think what we'll do next week, I'm actually gonna be on work travel, but I mean, that ain't nothing. I think I'll be able to, I probably can finesse a podcast. If not, I come back on Wednesday. Oh, yeah. We'll just push it a day back.
It's the last OTA session next week, before the weekend.
You know what day? It's going to be Tuesday again?
Yeah, it's the 9th.
For the meeting? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday. We'll go live next Wednesday. We can try to get like a boots on the ground person. Who was actually at the practice, and we'll go from there and have some conversations with a reporter or something like that. We're working on some coaches, college coaches, before y'all get our hopes up, so we can talk about some of these draft picks that we got. We talked about Sonny a little bit, but we still got a few more draft picks that we would love to discuss with some of the people. And since I was on vacation, I didn't have a chance to put out no Katron Allen film session, so we're going to put that out before the week is out. All 32 is back tomorrow. And then, the fellas will see y'all next week, man. Dre, take it easy, bro. Hopefully San Antonio does come through for you, for me too. I don't need to see. I'll be happy for New York, the team, if they do win, but I don't want the fans to be happy. So,
well, they hate my point guard, so I can't do anything with New York.
All right, man. That's it for us. Y'all take it easy. We're about here, man. Peace.
Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. Set,
appreciate everybody watching.
watch him throw the ball.
Man.
We gon' pick it up. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.